Art should not be appreciated.
Yeah, at first. Let's say you're starting content creation, then your first video blows up. That's the worst thing that could happen to you.
Let's take it back to when you were still music producing. How was that?
It was good playing keys for my church choir and becoming curious how songs are made.
Well, so what does a mix engineer do?
It's all about solving productivity. It's not broken, don't fix it.
What are like the challenges you encountered?
There are records that I worked on. I can't even tell you I worked on them because I don't have proof for it. I worked for Burna Boy before the Grammy era. I worked for Dremo, where I've mixed records for Davido as well. Ricardo Bang, as a photographer and as a mix engineer, we tend to have so many similar issues. Like I said, experience will just make you have feel of what's about to happen.
Every creative with their own kettle of fish.
As Nigerian creatives, we are forced to do more.
Does that not contribute to part of what makes us creative? So in Hull, you're saying you enjoy it here in the UK, and
I feel very limitless here. Like if I don't win,
you have the
it's up to
freedom.
me. Content creation as a mix engineer, I love it because I'm talking about things that I've been doing for 12 years. One day we'll all die, right? Or we will not be here someday, and the only thing that will be left of the big dot is his channel on YouTube. It will be there forever.
Thanks for making us do this. So like this will be the first shot at like having a podcast.
Yeah, see how it looks like and what it feels like.
Okay. There's a guy I follow on TikTok. He does very good content.
Yeah.
But then I look at his views. It's not really rewarding for the kind of energy he puts in into the content creation. 300 views, 400 views. So that was the day I had to comment. I'm really impressed at the way you put effort on this thing. Even though you're not getting so much views. I said, bro, we have to continue. Just have to keep doing it. The breakout will come one day.
That's true.
The day you get the breakout, it rewards you for everything. Then that's just one lesson. If it's what you just think you want to do, keep showing up.
I think that applies to so many other things, so many other parts of life, especially with art. It might not be appreciated at first. In fact, if you ask me, I would say it should not be appreciated at first.
Art should not be appreciated.
Yeah, at first. Let's say you're starting content creation, then your first video blows up. That's the worst thing that could happen to you. There's proof in so many areas of art where the very first thing you do pops off and everyone knows you for that.
Yeah. It blows in Nigerian time.
Yeah, the expectation is too high now. You can't even meet up again because, for example, an American rapper designer, he did Panda. It was one of the biggest songs in the world at the time.
Oh.
Remember the song? Panda, Panda, I got hoes in Atlanta. Yeah, after that song, none came out as big as that. Versus other musicians, when you make songs over time, then one pops off. So the fans that you've acquired from the new single,
followed your story.
Yeah, they will fall back. So even if the first song I've heard of Burna Boy is Ye, I heard Ye for instance. Obviously, we knew Burna Boy from scratch. But let's say people who've not heard Burna Boy before, they've heard Ye, or they've heard his song on the Black Panther movie. Wow, I like that song. When you go on his Spotify or Apple Music, you see that his portfolio is so long. He's making music. He's had like 4 albums before you heard him. That makes you become a fan.
Mentioning Burna, I recently was talking to someone. Been listening to Burna before this era of Ye. Based on my perception, the dimension changed after Ye. That success really came at that point in time. At some point, it didn't even look like Burna was ever going to be that kind of artist. I was going to become global.
Yeah, the whole thing just changed.
The only thing just changed.
He was making songs from Nigeria. The first album, the Like to Party, that was it was nice. And he moved to South Africa. He made loads of songs with them, aka and South African artists. It was still, we knew Burna Boy existed. We liked his music, but he wasn't up there, big guys, until Ye popped off. But now, like the content creation guy, now he's making amazing videos, having less attention. One day, one of his videos will get all the attention. For some reason, maybe the algorithm shows it to more people, or he happens to collaborate with someone that's influential. And now when you look at his page, you're like, he has like 50, 60, 100 and something videos. Follow.
Like this guy deserves, he deserves a subscription.
Yeah, I always come back and see more stuff. There's plenty.
Okay, now so let's get to you. The first time we met, I didn't really know what you do. We only spoke briefly, but then subsequently started seeing the stuff you were posting. So I like this guy's a music producer. But then later he told me it's music.
It's not machine.
Music engineering.
Yeah, engineering.
Let's talk about you. Let's take it back to when you were still music producing. How was that?
It was good. It's a long journey. Started off as a church pianist, playing keys for my church choir and becoming curious how songs are made. It's just curiosity of how all these instruments,
how they work together.
Yeah, how they get recorded onto tape. Because all we knew as instrumentalists were play these instruments live at the same time. So when I would hear studio work, a group of people played it or recorded, that was the curiosity that led me to learn how music is being produced. And at the time, one of my favorite bands was the Extreme Crew. I don't know if you know Tim Godfrey. Tim Godfrey has a choir called the Extreme Crew, and Mastercraft, his name is Sonny Nweke, was a producer and a director for that team at the time. So asking questions, how is music made? Yeah, I started digging deep and asking questions and figuring out how music is being produced. I had a friend who had FL Studio on his laptop. He wasn't even a musician or an instrumentalist. He just, And I met this guy, this friend of mine. I asked him, bro, can you show me how to use this FL Studio? He said, it's not for kids. So this is 12 years ago, bro. That statement could have made me give up, or I would have to prove myself like, what do you mean it's not for kids? So I opted for the second option. I got the software, started learning how to produce. I didn't have a laptop at the time, so I installed it on the church computer. Started learning how to produce on that. Over time, I could make decent instrumentals, make loops for the choirs. Some friends from school would say they want to sing.
Yeah.
They'll get my instrumental. Some of them will yap me that my beats sound like ringtones.
But ringtones, still music now.
Yeah, so that was production days. Started producing for a few more years, and in university, I realized that mix engineers were charging more than producers.
Really?
Yeah, so we would sell, young boys now would sell beats for like 5,000, 10,000. Mix engineers were charging 30, 50. Yeah, artists would get instrumentals from us and go to the studio. So those were the main guys. Like, if without me, someone not be nice. If I'm doing this thing for real, I have to learn how to mix so I can make more money. And I started learning how to mix, only to realize that the process of mixing and mastering and the process of music production, they are different. They are just different thought processes. It's not like the same thing.
Oh, okay.
And I started learning how to mix. For like 2 years, I lost my production skills. Not like I couldn't produce anymore, but music evolves every year.
Every year.
New sounds coming up, styles are changing. So giving my all to mixing and mastering so I could learn it to make more money. That was my initial reason, right? Coming back, realized music production, they don't pass, they don't move on, they do other things. So I was like, okay, mixing and mastering is more challenging, it's more difficult. I'll stick to that. When you ask about production, even when I was mixing full-time, first years of mixing full-time, I still had offers to produce. Of course, I'll still take them. Production was nice, but it requires a lot more moving around, being in rooms with people, meeting people. I would say as a producer, you meet more people than as a mix engineer. You have to go many places.
Well, so what does a mix engineer do?
So yeah, a mix engineer takes the sound that's been recorded by the recording engineer, by the recording artist. Everything comes to you raw, sounding rough, not good.
Different layers of
Yes,
sounds.
different layers of sounds. Yeah. So we call it tracks. So the kick will be one track, snare will be one track, everything will be one track. The voice will sound like, when you record yourself on your phone, the voice notes doesn't sound good. That's how the vocals will come. The mix engineer's work is to balance these things out. Like when you hear songs on the radio, one song plays, the next one plays, and it still feels cohesive. Make sure the kick is not louder than the snare, except it's intentional. It's leveling, it's tone matching and solving problems, basically. Sometimes you receive tracks that don't need a lot to be done. It's all about solving problems. If it's not broken, don't fix it.
Being a music engineer, does it also require you to tune voices?
Yes, it
artist
does.
voices.
Yes, it
make
does.
sure they sound nice and sound naturally.
Yes, it does.
Let's say I make a music today and
Yeah.
I bring it to you as a mix engineer.
Yeah.
Then you help me in tuning and making me sound good. So what happens if I don't come to you tomorrow?
That's totally fine. If you choose to not come, that's fine. But
yeah, I'm trying to look at it from the perspective of the artist. If you've helped me to tune my voice to a certain,
I get what you're saying.
Are you supposed to give me a template? Are you supposed to give me a preset? If I want to produce elsewhere, I want somebody else to mix for me in another studio to get that same tone, so like I don't sound different from where I sounded from my last.
I'm not supposed to. If we have a record we worked on as mixed engineers, we know what we are going for. Like I said, it's problem solving. If you as an artist didn't have loads of problems on your vocal in the first place, we wouldn't have to do a lot. But if there are problems, let's say there were wrong notes, I am supposed to, or I'm expected to know how to fix those notes. The reason why you wouldn't want to come back to work with me is if I didn't do it properly.
If you didn't solve my problem.
Yeah, if I didn't solve your problem. Because if I did, trust me, you'll come back. But if you work with someone else and you like their results better, that's fine. Music is an art and also a science. There's a thin line between being technical and being creative. So I should be able to, as a good engineer, I should be able to split that line carefully and know, oh, I'm not supposed to do this, but at the same time, this is what the artist wants. I'm breaking the rules, but in a creative way.
So when you were still producing in Nigeria and mixing, were you opportune to work on popular and notable projects?
Yeah, when I was producing back home, I produced for loads of smaller artists, did a few co-production for big artists as well. I produced a song for Fino. an album he released in 2019. Like I did track 2 on that album. The song was called Osageme. I worked with Dremel, but most of the big stuff that I've done were mixing and mastering related. When I was producing, I was still in uni. After then, I wasn't happy with it, so I just stuck to mixing and mastering. So by the time I had moved to the bigger city, Lagos State, to explore and push the boundaries, it was all mixing gigs that I had. I worked for Burna Boy before the Grammy era. Worked for Dremel, but I've mixed records for Davido as well. Ricardo Banks.
But do you get credits when you mix?
When you mix, you get credits. When you record, you don't get credits. The recording process, there's someone that's paid to do that. There's a recording engineer.
Okay, like when you come to the studio to record, the engineer that money. Okay, you don't get credit for that.
But we're supposed to. These are the credits we're supposed to get. Songwriters get credits. Producers get credits. Recording engineers should get credits. Mastering engineers get credits. Mix engineers get credits. Everyone gets credit. But back in the day, it was more of get paid once, move on.
Move on to the next project.
That was it. But it's changing now.
So I just want to ask, like, what are like the challenges you encountered?
Starting from things like the credit you just mentioned. There are records that I worked on. I can't even tell you I worked on them because I don't have proof for it. I probably just got paid and I moved on. And if you reach out to them to give you credit, it's like you're doing too much or you're asking for too much.
Like we're even trying to help you. Yeah. Like trying to put you on something. Yeah. That will give you exposure, exactly. And you're still asking for too much.
You're asking us to put your name on the. That's how it's seen. They don't really see it as, oh, it's a piece of you. This is intellectual property. Credit is a big thing. That was how and why you started seeing loads of producers and engineers have tags. Mix Monster, that was a tag for a mix engineer. Mix engineers are not supposed to put their tags on records, but because they're likely to not say your name ever again. So if you have an opportunity, you put
those tags that we get in Afrobeats. Are those credits for the mix engineers or the producer?
Both. So on some songs, you hear the tag of the producer, you hear the tag of the mix engineer, you hear the tag of the label.
So everybody trying to lay claim, I have a stake in this.
Yeah, I did something here. So over time, you're very close to the industry. You start recognizing people by that. Oh, I heard that you're the one that did that song. Only because you heard that tag. Album comes out, they don't list your name out there. So credit is one of the biggest challenges. But I'm happy to say it's changing. Also, just general understanding of the business of what is yours and what is not yours. Arguments would come up. People saying, oh, if you produce the song, you're not supposed to get songwriting royalties or anything like that. Oh, did I not pay you? So it's just a thing of understanding of how the business works. Credits, let's say resources. Yeah, we used to lack resources. Most of these things I'm saying are in past tense because right now, and I can tell you for a fact, it's really, really changing due to the collaboration of Nigerian artists with foreign artists. So when they meet them,
they see how they do things different.
Exactly. So when they come back home and you tell them something, they might still choose to not abide by those rules only because they can.
But they can't say it's not possible. It does not happen anywhere.
Yeah. So now they know it happens.
Okay, there's something that happens in my experience as a photographer. Sometimes people come with you with some projects. It's just something small. Just jump on this. Just do this. Something small. I promise you, it's not going to stress you. Yeah. And by the time you get into it, feel like this is not really what has been discussed. And for some reasons, you can't back out. Maybe because you've already put in your word. Does it happen like that in your side?
It happens a lot. As a photographer and as a mix engineer, we will tend to have so many similar issues. This morning, I had a message from someone saying it's a rap song. I need you to mix it for me. It should be quick, please. Now, they expect you to charge less because it's a rap song. You don't have loads of pitch corrections. You should turn it back in. Obviously, all the time, and everyone wants their songs ASAP. They want it quickly.
While it's still burning in them.
So then sometimes they pitch the job to you as light work. You open the project up as 120 tracks. They didn't mention this. It has loads of tracks. The pitch correction is crazy. The guy was singing off key the whole time. And you can tell this mentally cannot happen in a day or two.
Even if it's happening in a day, what it's going to take from you, the mental resources you're going to put into doing it, it's still something to factor into the whole stuff.
Even if you had all the time in the world, right? Let's say you had nothing to do. Just sit down, just work. In a day, you will not finish it because our ears are our muscles. They get tired. So you can tell to finish this, I will need more time. So to remedy that, over time, I learned that there's no simple job. There's no easy job. Well, this is my approach. I've seen mix engineers who charge by number of tracks. So they'll charge you by how many tracks are in the project. Some songs are so simple. Kick, snare, also let me say low instrument, bass, kick, snare, vocals, guitar, lead. So it's like 12 tracks altogether. They'll charge you according to that. Someone bringing a choir, they'll charge him according to that.
According to the number
of tracks. Some people use that method. I don't use that method because it's strenuous. Some of the artists that reach out to you, they don't even know how many tracks are in. They don't even know what's going on. The producer will send it to you. So I charge you what I'm supposed to charge you, regardless if it's a big project or a small project.
Somebody, I come to you and I said, I have this track I want you to mix for me, and I promise you it's nothing big. How much are you charging? And
the thing is, I wouldn't trust you in the first place. When you say it's nothing big, I would never listen to that.
When your perception of how small your project is guiding your pricing, it's a red flag for you.
It's a red flag. The moment you start telling me, it's nothing big, trust me, half the time when the client tells you it's light work, it don't even take your time.
You should be careful.
Be careful because chances are very high that project will stress the life out of you. So whether you tell me it's light work or not, I'll still charge you what I'm supposed to charge you. Over time, you get to realize when you get to a stage where you're working with professionals, actual A&Rs, record labels, the projects they will send to you will stress you less because the producer was a professional. The artists have been doing this for years. You have less things to fix. You have less things to worry about. Sometimes it comes in sounding really good.
I think it's similar to wedding photography.
Yes. You see, I'm not a photographer professionally, but I can guess that if you meet well-to-do clients, they won't stress you.
They won't stress you. In my experience in photography, when you meet clients that won't stress you, the first thing they get to want to talk about is the value they want you to deliver.
Exactly.
Like, can you do this? Can we get this done? When do you create your portrait? Do you need us to get an hotel? Or would you come around and check the ambience of the house and make sure it's going to be perfect for you? If you get to talk about that before we get into pricing, I know I'm in for something proper. But then when you come to me and the first thing you want to know is how much I'm going to charge, then I'm like, first of all, I need to understand what we're doing. But no, you just want to get the price. I'm like, I'm seeing something that's going to stress me at the end of the day. So it's also like that on your hand.
Yeah, it's similar to that on mine. I think the only difference is with you, clients need to discuss what they're doing. With me, most of the time they don't discuss what. Like I said, experience will just make you have feel of what's about to happen. There's nothing, you really wouldn't know what to expect. It's different for everyone. But we have ballparks where they all fall in. I worked on a song just recently, Sarkodie and 2 other artists. So the manager reached out. He heard he had a reference from a song I did for Chopsticks. Chopsticks is Burna Boy's producer. Something we worked on. He heard that and he liked it. But so now he's not heard other things I've done. Right? So he reaches out, Chopsticks said you mix this record for him. I have a song with Sarkodie. Would you mix that for me? How much would you charge? You see, that's it. So he has not told me about the song, but he just believes I will be able to handle it properly.
Because based on what you're saying, he's so confident you're going to deliver.
Yeah. I tell him the pricing. He asked me, when will you deliver it? I give him a time frame. He offered to pay more so the time frame could be less. He'd be like, oh, okay, that sounds good. He needed it in 24 hours actually. I told him, no. Listen, I'm not going to promise you what I won't be happy with. Because I can give it to you in 24 hours, but I might not be satisfied with the result. Your ears will get tired and make you feel like something sounds really good right now, but then tomorrow you think different. Only because your ears have refreshed. So let it be 2 days. He said, okay, I agreed. It was good. Send the record back here and they'll give you feedback. Sometimes the feedback comes properly. Sometimes the feedback comes in a very frustrating manner. Because as a mix engineer, you have a lot of people to please. You're not just pleasing the artist. You have to please the label. You have to please maybe the artist's sister.
Who is in charge?
Who might not even be in charge, bro. Who might just be a girl listening. What do you think? And she said, I think your voice is too loud. They will give you that feedback. So you get feedback from lots of people. The producer might say, oh yeah, I like the way the drums sounded, but my guitars were hiding. So when you get all these notes there, sometimes, like I said, if it's properly done, they'll point them out and you know what to attack and what to fix. The feedback is not properly given. They just tell you, we don't like the way it sounds. So just make it sound better. How? What should I change? Yeah, listen to the rough now. They start referencing, I don't think you have rough. You don't have rough in your field, but we have roughs, right? Roughs are when they record in the studio and the producer sends the artist a rough of what they just recorded. It doesn't sound good. But now the artist taking that rough version home. There's something we call demo-itis. You listen to the demo so much that you're so used to it, you think that is how it's supposed to sound. And when the mix engineer does his part, turns it to you, you don't like it anymore.
You don't like it anymore.
So that's a big challenge. Very big challenge.
Every creative with their own kettle of fish. Afrobeats in general. What perspective do you have about the Afrobeats currently?
I love it. I think it's becoming something bigger than it used to be. Before, Afrobeats would be, Afrobeats, a genre from Nigeria. Yes, it's still from Nigeria, but now it's becoming global in a way where you have French artists making Afrobeats, Americans making Afrobeats these days. So there's becoming a more acceptable genre, more like R&B. Anyone can do R&B and it's R&B because it's a style. So Afrobeat is getting better. From the perspective of a mix engineer, I like that we are focusing on quality now more. We are getting better sounding mixes the albums that are coming out are better as compared to 5, 10 years ago. So you listen to the new Ira Star album, the new Thames album, the new Burna Boy album. The engineering is just up there with the greats.
So,
So
do you think the immigration pattern
mm,
that we have currently, at least for example, a country like UK,
yeah,
the current influx of
yeah,
Nigerians coming to live in the UK,
mm,
do you think it has contributed to how Afrobeat shows get sold out
I
in
think
the
so.
UK?
Think so because before now you would agree with me that there's how you come to the UK in some parts of the and you ask someone, do you know who Whiskey is, and they will say no, and for good reason. That's a foreigner. The music is not that widespread. But now the influx of Nigerians into countries like the UK, so a British person is likely to have a neighbor now who plays whiskey in his backyard, or Burna Boy or Davido. And so you've heard this before. And now the kids are more susceptible to picking up new sounds. So maybe your kids have heard that, they like it, they're playing the songs. If the show comes up and a young person says, "Oh, I want to go for a Burna Boy concert," let's go together. Why not? You know. So I feel like the influx has played a major role in selling out these shows because now there's more people here. Now, the Nigerians in England and its environs, they're not just coming to these shows by themselves. They're bringing along
They're
their
bringing
friends from work,
friends.
girlfriends from work, their wives, and everything.
Every
So yeah, it's positive. It's all positive, I'll say.
people in Nigeria cannot afford the Afrobeat shows. People are able to afford it here in UK. Something that it's being produced in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Now, even to me, it's beginning to look like oil. The way crude oil is in Nigeria.
Yeah.
The people who live right on the
On
crude
the
oil
oil.
don't really enjoy the oil money. So I know Afrobeat is beginning to look like that to me. They now prefer to bring the shows to UK.
Yeah, so they can make more money.
They can make more money. Obviously, they'll get to make more money. But then, it's what it is. This thing emanated out of our culture. And now it's becoming something global. Then I don't get to benefit from it. You get to take it outside first.
It all reflects on our quality of life. I think it's a problem with governance. If this sounds cliche, people blame everything on the government, but it actually has a role to play. If it was a thing where we were living the equivalent of, let's say, I would buy a £60 ticket, but convert £60 to Naira and see the worth of it, I would feel like it's not a logical decision to make. Versus if we had what £60 can do for me here, if equivalent could do for me back home. Do you know I don't know if I make sense, but
Yeah, I'm getting it.
yeah, if
You can easily decide to put £60 on a Burna Boy show.
Yeah.
Then to put like over 100k on a Burna Boy show.
is not something that makes sense.
People will criticize you.
Yeah, because now you look at all these things. You buy this smartphone here, it's a certain price. To buy it in Nigeria, that means you've bought it in USD and you've shipped it. So now you're paying for this phone's shipping, paying customs. I sent an audio interface and a microphone to my brother in Nigeria last year. I paid about 60 or 70 to a DHL. And I had to go pay 105,000 Naira again for custom clearance. So now when the musicians look at the cost of moving things from wherever they have to move these things to Nigeria to set up, to pay for the labor, they have to charge more. And to charge more, it's now telling on the residents. So if Nigeria had a better system where...
The resident who does not even have means to make this money.
Because for sure, Nigerians are not lazy. They would get something done to get money for it. But you just look at it, you get the beer, you don't even just know how you want to make the next money. There's no option. So I can tell how difficult it is. Like, they say of great power comes great responsibilities. With the better quality comes for more demands, more cameras, more gear. So to do a proper show in Nigeria will cost them so much money. And that's money they've made from other countries. It's not logical to make money. I made £250,000 from England, came back, and I had to spend more than normal to set up.
Is it that it is impossible to set up good shows in Nigeria, to have platforms such like the O2 Arena?
We have
in
stadiums,
Nigeria?
right? Got stadiums. So now, to get the sound, the lights that we need, all these things. Like I said about audio engineering, there are certain equipments you won't even want to buy because you know you will not make that money back. There are certain audio and lights that we don't want to buy in Nigeria as ownership, so people have these because they will not make that money back. And artists will now import some of these things, line arrays and all these things, to get very good sound, very good lights. How much tickets will he sell to make that money back? It's more like it's not a good financial decision for them, and they'll try to do the small shows.
So from your own perspective, what do you think can make it work?
I think when the ratio of income and expenditure balances more in Nigeria, these things will be better. Some people will not find, like me saying I'm more flexible, I feel more free living in this country as a creator. that's not something that I'm happy to say. It's sad because I should be happy in my own country.
Now, you've worked in Nigeria with
Yeah.
different artists,
Yeah.
different individuals. How was it migrating to
Yeah.
United Kingdom as a Nigerian creative?
Yeah.
How's the terrain been like?
To be honest, I love it. This might not sound right to everyone, but it feels better. It feels as though I'm doing things more properly. This is not like a blanket statement. It's different with every client. But most of the time when I work with Nigerians, or when I was in Nigeria working as a Nigerian, people come to you not because of the good things you have to offer, but just there's a certain template they want you to apply that they heard on someone. Oh, did you hear the new techno record? Make mine sound like that. So we had that a lot. You're just belting out the same thing over and over again. Yeah, so it doesn't let you stretch your wings out. As a mix engineer, you only have a few artists who you work with and you're happy with. You guys explore together, do other things together, and just keep improving. Versus here, all the people I've worked with here, I've worked with some artists in England, and it's been different because I think music here is seen as seen more sacred as compared to back home. It's more business. The art and crafts, the meticulous details, we really don't care much about it back home. In the past 5 years, quality of music coming out of Nigeria has massively improved versus when I started. Quantity over quality. Now it's more balanced.
Yeah, could it be because of the way Afrobeats has gained more international recognition?
Yes. So the collaborations with the foreign producers and artists have made, and also, when you work with some artists you work with outside of Nigeria, they want their engineer to mix the record if they have to be on it. So when you say, okay, that's fine, let your engineer mix the record, it comes back. It sounds good, but it sounds very different from what we do in Nigeria. And over time, they start to accept it. Moving from there to here is different. The culture is different. I have to learn how to communicate differently. Sometimes I'm Nigerian 100%, both parents. So I'm very proud to be Nigerian. But you see the way sometimes you need to have what we call gra-gra, which in England is seen as aggression.
Yeah, everybody will step aside.
Exactly. So if you want to bring that Nigerian gra-gra here, you might go out of business. And versus Nigeria, if you do not have that gra-gra, you might not get certain things done. You might not even...
People won't feel you.
Exactly. So I hate to say this, but they will take advantage of your niceness.
That gra-gra we're talking about that is peculiar to Nigerians. Does that not contribute to part of what makes us creative as Nigerians?
It's like I said, I love it. The difference moving from there to here is you need to now learn when and when not to use your gra-gra.
Okay, you need to learn when to apply it and when to hold it back.
If we happen to get rid of most of the attributes that we have, obviously we'll lose our source. That will no longer be us. So we still keep it, but we need to learn how to. Because coming in here now, let's say, okay, back home here, an artist reached out to you. It's like, have you seen that meme where they say, what's your price? What's your budget? Between the client asking you how much you charge and you asking how much worth of work they want. I think it's less here. So if someone reaches out to you, they ask how much you charge, you tell them. So it's either they can afford that or not. Yes, they will bargain, but it won't be on a sumo wrestling type where it's like back home here, when a client asks you how much you charge, you raise that price as high as you can because you know for a fact they will drag it down as low as they can. So the back and forth is less here.
Yeah,
I think it's different that I can work with.
So in Hull, you're saying you enjoy it here in the UK, and you've never had any reason to say it would have been better off if I was in Nigeria.
Zero reasons, bro.
Wow.
Here is more diverse. Now that gives you more things to learn. Back home, there's certain gear that you would like to try that you probably can't lay your hands on. Be it financial constraints or it just won't ship to Nigeria. You spend a certain amount of money on a piece of gear and you know for a fact you won't recoup that money in the next 5 years, or you might never even recoup that money. It's not worth it. So I think when I compare back home to here, back home is back home. Home forever. I love it. But from a creative standpoint, 100% I'm happier here because I can get whatever I want. As long as I think about it and I know what I want to use it for, or I need it, I can get it. It's all about work, get it done. Just as long as you're working, there's no limits here. If you want to be, let me say, a producer for a living, there are ways you could do that. You could work for yourself. You could work for a production company. It's different, right? Back home, if you want to work as a producer for a living, you only have the option of working for yourself and you give yourself so much time. It has its pros and cons. One thing I can tell you is as Nigerian creatives here, we are forced to do more and that makes us better. The biggest thing for me about the difference between back home and here is the limits. I feel very limitless here. Like if I don't win,
you have the freedom.
Up to me.
You've also been doing content creation. So what's the experience like in content creation?
The experience with content creation as a mix engineer, I love it because I'm talking about things that I've been doing for 12 years. So it's natural for me. I would like to say the reason I started in the first place was, looking back, I have learned more from YouTube than I have learned in any classroom, and it's only right that I give it back to people who might need that information. And with information, it's an unlimited resource, right? But you could tell me about, maybe I've heard about the Nikon camera's autofocus from someone else, but hearing it from you might rub me differently. Maybe there's something you said, or there's a way you said it, and I'm like, oh, really? Okay, now there's more clarity to me. I don't know if there's times you've heard about one topic from different people and you've read different meanings to each of them. Now I've learned this, I practice in the field, I have my portfolio is there, I have proof of work. So maybe I should talk to people about this thing that I've been doing, and maybe someone can learn at least one thing. Plus, sometime last year, we lost an artist, Mobad.
Rest in peace.
RIP. Coincidentally, a week before Mobad passed, a certain label sent me a song of their artist featuring Mobad to mix. So I told them I'll send them back the record in a week. The day before I was supposed to send the song on Instagram, I saw the bad news, and I was away from home, didn't have my laptop. Reading this sad news on Instagram it felt some type of way. Went back home to just realizing that, oh, I'm mixing the vocals of a person that has just passed away, and I solo the vocal, like we hear it. So it's like he's talking. When you solo it and there's no instrument, he's talking.
Like he's talking to you.
That really gave me a whole new perspective on life and media as a whole.
And gives you a reason to want you to create and put out
stuff,
your experiences.
Yeah, because I realized that one day we'll all die, right? Or we will not be here someday, and the only thing that will be left of the big dot is his channel on YouTube. It'll be there forever. Yes, we'll go there and we'll see all the wonderful short films he shot, the pictures he took, the memories he captured. It's either in audio format or visual format. So what if the big dot never shot people, or never took pictures of himself, or never said anything about? So then 200 years from now,
there will be nothing
there will be no big
refer
dot.
to.
Yeah, we will not even know what it sounded like. I feel like we are very blessed and opportune to have access to these time capturing devices.
And with the modern technology,
yes,
use them.
We can freeze time. All these conversations we're having right now are being recorded. 2,000 years from now, if these things are on cloud and the people still have access to it, they'll hear exactly how we sounded and the things we said in the same words. So it's not a thing where they're telling you, oh, they said that, 8 notes said this. You can hear it.
You can see. He said that. Check.
Look, so when with the mobile situation, it really brought me to that realization that, oh, you've been wanting to create content, so why not? What have you been waiting for?
So that's another perspective to content creation, and can motivate anybody to start creating. If you're still thinking, I'll wait till tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'll wait till I have everything.
Yeah. It was really, really life changing.
I think it's just a nudge for everyone to just make your time worth it.
Yeah, to get active.
Whatever it is you believe you want to do, just do it. Tell a story about yourself and put it on record. Someday it won't be here. I've watched some of your videos. You talk about your devices. Now I'm going to put one straight to you. Apple or others?
Apple versus others. I would say others.
Why?
Because if you say others, you've opened me to a whole world.
I would have said Apple or Samsung. But then, to me, Apple is the only device that operates on a distinctive...
If you ask me Apple versus others, the way my mind will work is, I love Apple. I'm on the Apple side. But Apple is a fenced garden. So you're in a garden, but there's a big fence around that garden. It's beautiful. There's flowers here, but you can't walk outside.
You can't walk outside. You have to bring everything you need. You have to get source for everything you need from within
there. If you say others now, I can get a wonderful computer from another brand. I could get a wonderful smartphone. I have an iPhone and a Samsung. I could get a wonderful smartphone from another brand. Do everything in life, random different brand. But if I'm stuck, if I say only Apple, that means I can't get a sorry to say, but the iPad is not the best tablet.
I don't agree with that.
Yeah, that's just my opinion.
I don't agree with that, because
so now for me to get the really good iPad, I have to spend 3 times what I would spend on another one.
Even the Samsung tablet is not cheap.
But if I buy the Samsung Galaxy S9, right, Ultra, it'll come with the stylus, with the features that the iPad Pro Pencil, I have to pay extra. So if you buy the new M4 iPad right now, wonderful tablet, math specifications, you have to still buy the Pencil separate from that.
Talking about the functionalities of the iPad, one thing the iPad has enabled me to do is, I spend less time on the laptop. Almost everything I need to do now, I do on my iPad.
Tablet,
I can do on my tablet, and it's mobile.
But it takes away your freedom.
Freedom in terms of, it gives me the freedom I need. I don't have a reason to start looking to do anything on other
platforms.
other because I will use my iPad or my iPhone with my MacBook.
Your MacBook. That's the fence garden I'm talking
Everything,
about.
even if it's fencing you, if you can get everything you need, what's there to complain about?
I don't complain about it. For someone like me, I'm very deep into it. I have a MacBook. I have an iPhone. I have an Apple Watch, AirPods. I have the Apple mouse. Although I hate it, but I have it. Best mouse I've used ever is the Logitech MX Master 3S.
Yeah, I use the Logitech mouse too.
Yeah, so it's big, it's bulky, but it's very functional.
So, but now you can also see that Apple does not make it completely fenced.
That's why I would say others. Because for others now, if I don't say others, if I say Apple, that means I have to use the magic mouse from Apple. But if I say others, I can enjoy my Logitech. So if someone would say, oh yeah, pick Apple or others, I would say others. Collect all my Apple devices, I'll still survive. But if you say you will not use anything except Apple, I'll feel very, very, present quickly. It's like the way Sony people are. Sony shooters, they will not see anything. They think Sony is all the best.
They think Sony is the best, but
I
then
disagree. I think Canon color science is better.
Based on the experience I've had, if it's videos, I think Canon has an edge. Canon has an edge when it comes to video production. But then for me, I'm a photographer. When it comes to photography, I'll choose Nikon before any other brand.
True.
And for the fact that I've invested so much in Nikon gadgets, if so, I have to use Nikon for all my videos, for my photography. I've not even had any reason to say I'm considering another brand over Nikon. Though some of my colleagues would disagree. Like, you are yet to see the light. The moment you see the light, you join.
I think so too, bro.
I'm like, no, I'm not going to join you guys. I'm not going to join you guys. At some point, Nikon is still going to pay me. But if you think you want me to come, you want me to switch side, you have to buy me out. You
know what? I'm never a person to say this is better than this. I don't say that when it comes to music genres. I don't say it when it comes to creative, like, so this is a better producer than this one. I don't say that. I don't say when it comes to gear. This is a philosophy of mine. So there could be grass right here, and we are all asked to cut the grass. You come out of the house with a hoe. I come out of the house with a machete. The other person comes out of the house with a shovel. They all have different techniques that they'll clear. At the end of the day, the grass will be cleared. As long as we practice how to use our gear efficiently enough, we'll get the job done. Whatever camera, I'm only shooting Sony. I respect and love Nikon. My first camera was a Nikon as well. My brother has a Canon. I've shot Canon for a long time. So I just feel like anywhere I would have found myself, I would still...
So far we can still create.
Yeah, because the thing with creators in 2023, 2024, YouTube has had a massive influence on us, making us think we need to buy the latest and greatest of equipment.
I think we should just round up here because time is fast spent. Any final thoughts?
Oof. I mean, for today, yes. Final speech for today. But we should do this more often. And I'll just encourage you and anybody that will end up watching this. If obviously everybody cannot be a creator. We need consumers too.
Yeah.
But keep it in mind that every day you scroll through your phone mindlessly, you are the consumer. Instagram is free for a reason. It's free because you are the product. So they're taking money from companies for ad, right?
Yeah.
And in exchange for your time. So if you've ever had it in mind to create, just go ahead and do it.
Go ahead and create.
If you have the spark to create, go ahead.
If you feel like every time you're consuming a content and you're feeling like I like to do something like
that,
this,
could be me.
So just go ahead and go ahead and do it. And you know the funniest thing about content creation, like at least in my little experience, the imperfect content, they get more attention.
They play.
But then when you sit down, want this perfect camera angle, this lighting, the audio, then it struggles to get even 500 views.
That's the thing.
But come to realize some features are peculiar to certain platforms. I think TikTok does not want you to be perfect.
They want it to be organic.
But then I think Instagram still appreciates
perfection. The
picture quality, clean audio.
Even on Instagram, it's changing. It goes both ways. So this is how it used to be. So let's say 2 years, 3 years ago, right? People were very heavy on the editing. You know, they had this thing called retention edit where they would cut things quickly, zoom in, zoom out, sound zoom. That was so your attention could be on video for a longer time. Because we recently just started consuming social media content and our attention span had been reduced. That has happened for a few years. You know how our brains work. It gets tired of things. So now, right now, there's a new style. The new thing that is working is not really popular yet, but the new thing that is working is less edits, minimum edits, zero cuts,
just put it
point
out
and shoot, print out and upload, right? People now start feeling like, oh, they can relate with you. They can hear, they have a sense of, I'm in the room with the big dot speaking. Not like the big dot has done this big presentation that he wants to show to the world. So organic material right now are doing better than the heavily edited stuff.
Even now, YouTube is currently even, like I've seen some videos where YouTubers are talking about YouTube now even intentionally shifting focus to small
Small
creators,
creators,
like
yes,
organic creators,
exactly.
and giving them a chance.
Yeah, it's not always about gear. Yes, good equipment is important, but it's more about you. Just put in the work, give it volume.
No, gears don't matter, but then it also matters.
Exactly. Gear doesn't matter, but it matters.
Thank you very much for
Thank you.
coming. Hopefully, we do this sometimes
Yeah,
again.
it's
We
just the
could,
first one of many. Should
yeah.
be more.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. This is how we do it. When you greet a big man, you do it two hands.
Yeah.
Nice to meet
Thank
you,
you,
sir.
man.
Same here. It was a
Yeah.
great time.